Should be right on time, if memory serves. Rather, if my timing serves. It says I'm live, but I'm not seeing anything. Try refreshing. Maybe. There we go. So I've got visual. Do I have audio? There we go. I do indeed. So hello, people of the internet. It is I, Solar Dragon here, back with more Fate Stay Night Remaster, where feels like the game's audio is a little low there with the little boom, boom things. But, yeah. So, Caster's Attack and More is the name of the stream, because last time, while we were cooling down from just a day of relaxation, that night, there was an attack on Shiro and Mia's household. And it is quite likely, well, given, you know, the dialogue here, it is Caster who is making the attack. And from a meta perspective, we know Caster has Dragon Tooth Warrior Skeleton Familiar things. So yeah, if we go to previous dialogue, and nope, you're not going to let me go to previous dialogue here. So there's no real context in this bit of dialogue here. Saber is recovering well enough. Shiro has started to learn a little bit more about his latent projection magecraft, and yeah, so it is Rin who is without Archer, Ilya without Berserker, Shiro who is with Saber, all in this household right now. Caster is attacking, and just based on previous observations, where if it splits off either up or down like this, it is going to be a bad end. One of these choices will lead to a bad end. And, you know, just based on context clues, I grabbed the wooden sword in the living room. Saber and Tosaga seem to be waiting for me to make a move. I'm going to lead Caster to Saber and protect these two here, or Saber and I will both head out. So, honestly, both of these seem like they would, if I did not know the meta perspective that if the flowchart splits in this way, it's a bad end, I would not guess that this would lead to a bad end. So the question is, which one will be the bad end? We've had one other bad end associated with Caster so far. That was when Shiro tried to help Saber fight Caster. But, from a meta-knowledge perspective, we know that Caster has a specific NP that would be kind of bad for her to use on Saber. So, Saber going off by herself is probably not the best idea. So we're going to send Saber off by herself, and Shiro is going to just protect Ilya and Rin for probably like 10 minutes. Saber can take care of Caster. There's no servant left that Saber can't defeat, and Saber should be good against Caster. Her strong magic resistance should make a good choice against Caster, who is a mage. Man, how many times can we say Caster in one paragraph? Can you go? Yes, I should go alone if we only face Caster. You've made the right choice. Okay, we'll try to hold down the fort. You just need to focus on defeating Caster. A strange sound reaches me just as I finish speaking. Is it the sound of Saber tearing through Caster's familiars now that she's jumped out into the hall? I'm hearing more of them now. 20, 30, 40... They may be weak, but there's too many of them. Shouldn't be a problem. Dragon Tooth Warriors are imitations. They don't stand a chance against Saber. She's the incarnation of a dragon. Even 100 of them wouldn't be a match for her. The sounds retreat into the distance. The horde I felt surrounding the house is gone. I assume Saber defeated them all. Like Ilya said, Caster's familiars can't stop Saber. They must not have made it in here because they couldn't get past Saber. Also, another reason why this is probably the bad end is because usually trying to split up from Saber tends to be resulting in a bad end. So, as expected, Saber found Caster. Caster's trying to recall all her familiars, but this looks like the end for her. If Ilya is right, the battle should be over soon. Saber won't lose in single combat. She shouldn't have any trouble cutting Caster down, since she doesn't have to worry about protecting us. Why so glum? You look troubled, even though we're saying the fight's just about over. I could say the same, Tosaka. Why does it look like something's bothering you? Yeah, it just seems like things are going too well. Caster knows Saber is way more powerful, so why just launch herself at us like this? Oh, I forgot about her master. Her master could be here. She's right. Caster came here willingly. If she knows that there's a master here, she should have already known which servant is here too. So she knows that Saber is here, and that Saber is a bad matchup for her. If she knew that and still attacked, that means... I don't hear anything. Elia, do you sense Caster's presence? It's gone. The familiars are still around, but the only servant left is Saber. There are still familiars left. Look, Shiro, your arm. Huh? I look down at my left arm. Yep, there it is. I don't understand what happened. My command spells, proof of my contract with Saber, are gone. Shiro, did you use a command spell? No, I didn't. What's going on? Saber should have defeated Caster easily. So then... two different music tracks blending in together. Oh no, a different one taking over. So then why did my command spell disappear? No, my command spell disappearing doesn't mean my contract is severed. I shouldn't be panicking. Command spells are there to control servants who may act against their master's orders. I haven't needed to use them for Saber. So even if I lose command spells, Saber and I should be able to get along fine. Saber's back. She'll be here soon. Rain is prepped. What are these two doing? Saber's just coming back, so why do they seem so worried? The door opens, Saber comes in. Oh. That's what the sound is. It's a frickin' ad. I don't know why OBS Streamlabs is just doing ads periodically. No. Where are you coming from the ads? Stop with the ad. Stop. No. Where is this frickin' ad coming from? Stupid fucking ads. I don't know why Streamlabs makes it run ads periodically, but it's annoying. No. What? Okay, something is playing ads, and I don't know what it is. Stop display capture. Oh, now you stop ads. Now you stop when I start complaining. And I'm about to go and start going scorched earth on my computer. Now you stop. Okay. Ads. Okay. God. Saber's gripping her chest. She seems to be in pain. I rush to her. No. Wait, Shiro. I don't hear Tosaka's warning. All I see is that Saber is injured. Are you okay, Saber? Where did you... What? No. Run, Shiro. Saber, stop. In a single stroke, my body is cut in half from shoulder to the waist. So quick is the slash that for a moment I don't even feel pain. My mysterious healing abilities don't seem to work against the attack from Saber's sword. The world starts to go dark. As I die, more than my fear of death, I find myself wondering why Saber attacked me. Dead end. Now, from a meta perspective, I know, but... yes, we will seek the advice in the dojo. They don't even know what to say. Good evening, everyone. Oh, poor Saber back there. This is the Tiger Dojo, the Q&A spot that helps Shiro when he dies from easily avoided mistakes. So the cause of death this time around was... the moral of the story here is that you shouldn't ever let down your guard, no matter how much you seem to have the upper hand. Shiro's a master, so he needs to control Saber whenever she rushes out so recklessly. No, you got it wrong. Saber's at fault this time, right? She was the one who fell into Caster's trap. Obviously, that means she's losing focus. I bet she was self-conscious around Shiro and just tried to show off, but she ended up killing Shiro. Honestly, how the mighty Saber class has fallen. Aww. Panic, panic, panic! Besides, she may be the strongest, but she hasn't really got much in the way of wins under her belt. She's small, and she lacks charm. She's just a gluttonous muscle brain. Wow, Ilya. Okay, now you can stop, Ilya. Saber feels bad over the whole thing, too. Rubbing salt in someone's wound isn't very samurai. I see. So Bushido, the way of the samurai, is all about the lack of opulence. With no love, only sympathy. Fine, I'll let this go. But the fact of the matter is that Saber needs to be reined in. If you don't, you'll get more than these dead ends. Sorry to butt in. Ow. My mentor, what's with the corporeal punishment? I told you already, none of that talk. No spoilers, and don't tick Saber off. She's really scared if she gets mad. Just the other day, someone had a near-death experience because they made Saber mad. Oh, you mean the thing that happened on day 13? That was really fun. Taiga, did you just hear a growling sound? I don't think I... A rival appears. What the heck? A weird thing is writing another weird thing, and it's coming right at us. Saber's riding a lion. Oh, that's funny. So something on day 13. When is this? This is day 13. So there's another bad end on day 13? Maybe not necessarily this route, but another route? Possibly. Alright, so I guess Saber and Shiro are both heading out, but let me just check real quick. Was I right? Yeah, I was right. The downward path was the bad one. So Saber and I will both head out. It's clear who the enemy is. If Castor is attacking with an entire army, there's only one thing for us to do. Us staying here won't do anything. Saber, with me. Tosaka, you take Ilya. Huh? Why? I don't want to babysit Rin. That's my line, and I thought you said you were going to listen to Shiro. He's telling you to stay back, so no arguing. I don't care. I'm more useful than Saber. Tosaka grabs Ilya from behind in a full Nelson and covers her mouth. That's great. Ilya, her voice muffled, continues shouting insults and expletives. Got it. I'll protect Ilya. I'm counting on you to defeat Castor. Thanks, but try not to overdo it. You're better off running than fighting, if it comes to it. Tosaka nods as if to say she doesn't have to be reminded. I turn my back to Tosaka and head to the veranda. I thought there was going to be more there. Yes, I know. I will take care of Shiro. Saber follows me after nodding to Tosaka. Oh, that's an interesting graphic. In that instant, I doubt my own eyes. A sword swings down at me. I stand stunned as the blade descends towards my head. I twist away and parry with my wooden sword. Even I don't believe it. My body just reacted the instant I knew I was in mortal peril. The enemy attacks again without missing a beat. A smooth, mechanical movement. A fluid, accurate attack. But that's it. It's accurate, but it's not sophisticated, and it lacks the brutality of a killing strike. Killing strike, killing blow, same difference. It seems pathetic next to the strength of Saber's strikes, like it's barely moving in comparison to Berserker's incredible speed. Back against the wall, I parry again. As I step back against the wall, Saber strikes like lightning. Shiro, are you alright? See for yourself. I got a little spooked, but I managed. That will not do. At times like this, you must stand behind me. Please, be more careful. Saber scolds me for my carelessness. She's right, but I didn't want to just stay behind her. Shiro, are you listening? I am. So, Saber, what was that thing? The hallway is empty. Whatever hideous thing Saber saved me from was completely annihilated by her attack. It was exactly as Ilia's Veil said. It was a soldier made by using a monster's body as a catalyst. It seems more like a golem than an automaton, but seemed to be of low quality. I will have no trouble defeating them, even if we are surrounded. That is an interesting graphic. They don't actually have proper skulls. I don't know where they were hiding. How the hell did this man manage to sneak in? These crudely assembled things scuttle all around us, closing in like spiders. But they're not the only presence I sense. Countless others surround the house, many times more than I see here. Shiro, next to you. I leap away from the wall. Why, you? I strike at the bones with my wooden sword. Saber sweeps away the bones crawling towards my exposed back. The bones move jerkily towards us, attacking with the same unnatural movements. It's not hard to fight them off, but we're destroying more of the house with every strike. And I only have a wooden sword. Even if I use strengthening on it, it won't last. As much as I hope I'm wrong, it seems like the bones heading for us are endless. I really hope this isn't going to go on until we both collapse from exhaustion. Take their sword, Shiro! Damn, where are these things coming from? I can't help but complain as I fight back-to-back with Saber. There aren't that many bones coming at me. Some seem to be coming from inside the house, but most seem to be coming from the yard. Saber is slashing away at the bones coming from the yard. It looks like they're headed towards the living room. Tosaka and Ilia are in there, and Saber has her hands full dealing with the bones headed that way. Saber readies her sword. There may be no need to hide it now. Her golden sword is ready to demonstrate its true power. Wait, Saber, don't use Excalibur right now. I don't care if you could destroy the house. Okay, I might care a little, but we're in the residential area. You know what'll happen if you use it here. I shout to Saber as I bat away the bones striking at me. I will obey your order, but dealing with so many enemies at once is not ideal. We could find ourselves in trouble if we do not sweep them all aside with a single blow. I know. These things are like familiars, right? Then if we defeat the one who's controlling them, that should wipe out the whole army. Saber, can you find Castor? There's no need. Castor is in the yard. She's not concealing herself, which tells me she hopes to lure us to her. Fine, we'll give her what she wants. We're not going to last like this. We aren't. I do not mind, but are you saying we're going to attack Castor there? I think he is. ... Shiro is dumbstruck at the fact that Saber has seen through his plan. The yard is just ahead. If Castor's just out there, she shouldn't be so difficult to reach. Hey, J6, welcome to the stream. Howdy things. Yes, I saw the Elden Ring Night Rain thing last night. It is not... Do you know all the details of Night Rain? Do you know all of the details of it? But if we do that, we won't be defending the house. Saber's fighting the bones off for now, but as soon as she's outside, the wall holding them all back will be gone. I should... Okay, another option here. Alright, so what do we have? So we know leaving Castor to Saber is a terrible, terrible idea. So, first off, dead end. No dead end on this one. So there is no wrong choice here, theoretically at least. But I still think that, not having Saber go off on her own is probably the better choice if we're going to do anything from, like, a Shiro stays with Saber perspective of things. So I think it'll probably be believing in Tosaka, even though we kind of just told her to take Ilia and run. But yes, Legend ZA, Elden Ring Night Rain, lots of good stuff next year. Lots of good stuff. Yep. Okay. So every session is about an hour long, and there are pre-made characters as well. I think those might be the only things you missed out on what you're saying there. So let's believe in Tosaka, for some reason. I hear glass shattering. I hear the sound of intense fighting coming from the living room. Shiro, your orders, please. There's no time to be indecisive. I know. My delaying it is making the situation worse. It also does... Is Elden Ring the first Souls game you've ever played, by the way, J6, out of curiosity? Okay, I was about to say, it's more than just the Nameless King. There was more than just the Nameless King there. We're going after Castor. I already said Tosaka should take care of Ilya. Then let us go, Master. I will entrust my back to you. Do you want to know what else was in the trailer? Or rather, who else? She hurries down the hall, mowing down bones as she goes. The bone soldiers disappear before getting anywhere near Saber. They are like vanishing snowflakes. Saber scatters so many in her path it looks like a snowstorm. You played tutorial Demon Souls, didn't finish it. Okay, so the other figures that featured in the trailer that they showed, there was the Centipede Demon from Dark Souls 1, was one of the enemies potential there. The Firekeeper from Dark Souls 3 was the hooded woman with like the silver mask covering her eyes. That is the Firekeeper from Dark Souls 3. And then in the cinematic, the part where the player character sort of jumps up and you see a bridge overhead, that is the bridge from Bloodborne. But there is also Sekiro-like parrying mechanics. So this seems like it is going to be every game somehow. There's going to be stuff from every game. Every FromSoft game. This will truly be the Dark Blood Shadow Ring Souls game of the year. Oh, I'm definitely hyped. I don't watch the Game Awards just because I kind of find it pointless. I know they announce games and stuff, so I was just watching random YouTube videos, and then on the side panel where there's all the recommended videos, which I barely glance at, I see something Elden Ring. It's like, what, oh, and I just instantly stopped watching what I was watching, clicked on the trailer, and I was so fucking hype. I cannot wait. I'm debating what console to get it for myself, though. I'm not sure if I'm going to do PC or PS5. I've not decided on that yet. She said she'd trust her back to me, but she pretty clearly doesn't need me to protect her. I'm once again reminded of how skilled of a swordsman Saber is. Saber charges through them, unwavering. She cuts her way straight to the source of the bones. Her only goal now is to defeat the unseen yet sick servant that has invaded the house. Saber stops. The soldiers which had been coming at us in droves are suddenly gone. This must be our destination. A distorted human figure looms ahead of us. Funny how Margaret's VA is spewing the same lines as before about saying how we're ruining the land of gold. Except this time, it's other Soulsborne ring protagonist things. Okay, I think I have a cut on my back or something and a thread got caught in it. It wears a robe of some kind, but the robe itself is so dark that it looks more like a hole in the night. A dark shadow. As soon as I lay eyes on the figure, I'm struck by an indescribable sense of anxiety. Are you, Saber? Yes, you certainly would be capable of defeating Berserker. My soldiers then would be no deterrent to you. Yep, all of Limgrave, and it looks like more than Limgrave as well, so. The figure chuckles. It seems the dark figure is the master of the bone creatures, Castor. But there's no master. There's no sign of a master nearby. I mean, there was also some environments that were very much unfamiliar, like the sand pit where the three-headed wolf creature is fought. I did not recognize that at all from any game. Maybe she's the same as Lancer, able to move even far from her master. Has your contract been terminated? Saber challenges her directly with the question. Yes, that man was unfit to be my master, so I rid myself of him. He is no more. I can't see the expression on the robed servant's face, but I can hear the terrible coldness in Castor's voice. Master killer. So your master... He's long dead, but that's not a problem for me, Saber. Excuse me. We are soul eaters. We are surrounded on all sides by sources of magical energy. All that remains is why simply obtaining the Holy Grail. Then there's nothing else to worry about. So you wish to live in this world too. I do not know what heroic spirit you are, but you've abandoned what pride you had for this? Goodness. And would you not say letting yourself be used as a tool for humans is casting your pride aside? Yeah, it definitely looks different from Radahn. It looks more molten, almost. I'm trying to think of the best word to describe it, but can't really. I could never endure that. Both then and now, I grew tired of working for another's benefit. I prefer to be the one pulling the strings. You have no right to criticize. I mean, there's also the Orphan of Kaz, area, which is somewhat sandy. And the final fight against, Slave Knight Gale is pretty sandy. Trying to think. Draw my vast repository of souls. Yeah, it's on a beach. I figured as much, but your misdeeds do not concern me. Saber tilts her body just slightly. She's only about 10 meters from Castor. Saber should be able to close that distance and bring Castor down in a heartbeat. How nasty of you. I came here simply to talk, but you will not hear me. I will have you know I've been gentle here. There is nothing for us to discuss. You will die here. Wow, Saber, being harsh. Saber's intent only on killing. I'm not about to oppose her in that case. All I smell from Castor is blood. Ooh, a network test has been announced. I gotta read details on this. February registration starts on January 10th for a network test for Night Rain. Nightrain.com/NT is the website to sign up for the network test, J6. Nightrain.com/NT. I'm typing that in it now. To sign up for the closed network test. She must be telling the truth about murdering her master. Her raid tonight was clearly intended to kill everyone else in the house. So there's no reason for me to stop Saber. Besides, Castor isn't even a threat to Saber. Even I can see Castor's abilities. She's the weakest when it comes to one-on-one combat. If Saber engages her, she can only lose. Wow, Shiro is cocky. Don't do it, Saber. Even with all that in mind, I can't shake off this sense of anxiety. It's not the same feeling of hopelessness, inevitable death I got whenever we're in Berserker's presence. Do I just have some sort of aversion to her, or is it a warning of something dangerous? Hang on, I'm entering in my email address so I can sign up for this network test. Or or at least be notified of when the network test sign-up begins. I am not a robot. Beep boop. Alright. Cool. So that's that done. It just says network test, so I imagine it will be all systems network test. Forget about me. Somehow my left hand is aching to warn me that Saber should stay away from that thing. I hesitated too long. Saber launches herself at the dark shadow. Saber, no! Caster smiles. Yes, but you can sign up for a you can sign up to be notified when the signups begin. So you're signing up so you know when to sign up. This way, so that you don't forget where to sign up when the time to sign up comes. She doesn't look at all disturbed as Saber rushes towards her. Sorry, I don't speak whatever language you just spoke there, Caster. So you're gonna have to not. She mutters Atlas. Oh, Shiro, of course, speaks whatever the frick language that was. I can't understand what she says, but it's sending something beyond words straight into our minds. Some sort of gravity magic. The world lurches and distorts. The air goes denser around Saber. What? I hear, even feel, a tremendous impact. The ground flexes like something massive slammed into Saber from above. I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory what something like Atlas would be. You know? No way, she activated some kind of magecraft without moving a muscle? Okay, we got new servant data. Servant. I'm gonna guess Caster. Caster. Master, unknown. True name, unknown. Gender, female. Height, 163 centimeters. 2 feet. She is about... 5.3. So she's about 5'4" tall. And 51 kg to lb. And she is 112 pounds. Very light. Very light indeed. Her stats are E rank strength, D rank constitution, C rank agility, A plus rank magic, B rank luck, and a C rank noble phantasm. No hero info. Skill, territory, creation, A. Creating advantageous territory for oneself as a mage. It's possible to form a temple that exceeds a shed. Item construction, A. Can create a tool tingled with magical energy. Can even create an elixir of immortality, albeit an imitation. Rapid words of divine, A. Can activate magecraft without saying an incantation or connecting with magic circuits. Even great magecraft can be cast in a single action. They are words from the age of gods, so modern people cannot pronounce them. And unknown noble phantasm. Actually, I think she murmured something like an incantation. Incantations can be shortened. The simpler the magecraft, the shorter the spell can be made. But this isn't by any means simple magecraft. Not many mages could visualize such a thing in a single breath. Even if it were possible, they'd need to prepare a catalyst ahead of time, like Tosaka does. But Caster triggered the magecraft with a murmured word. I've never heard anything like this. Seen or heard, same difference. If that is Caster's magecraft, she is no mere mage. Saber hovers there, frozen. Her feet still kick in midair. Excuse me. She hangs, suspended there. The air around her seems to have thickened like gelatin. I can't get close. Some sort of invisible barrier holds me back. The murkiness seems confined to Saber, but so long as her feet don't touch the ground, she can't move. You underestimated me, Saber. I don't know how your mages fared in your life, but I lived during the age of gods. To these modern mages, what I do must seem like magic. A ridiculing laugh echoes from the depths of that dark robe. Saber is still suspended, helpless, in the air. Oh, is this really all you're capable of, Caster? She dismisses this as if it were some dull trick. Magic resistance repels even my magecraft. Caster steps back. After casually nullifying Caster's mate trap, Saber surges toward her at lightning speed. But I... Oh! Okay. Another choice here. So, decision point. This one's harder to tell if it will lead to a dead end or not. This one is definitely harder to tell. Because it did not split like the standard. Which begs the question of what this one would have led to. Would it have led to the same choice? Or only one choice, perhaps? Perhaps. That is why that choice is there. I'm curious. I don't backtrack, though. Outside of when I get a bad end, I do not backtrack, and I'm not going to backtrack until I've completed the Fate route, and then we will explore every possible alternate route. So I can't do that yet. Not yet. So, from a meta perspective, again, we know what NP Media Caster. Totally just said Caster. I didn't spoil the name of the servant or anything. We totally know what NP Caster has. Getting in close is not the best idea. Shiro has continued to have premonitions that getting in close is not a good idea. It's possible this could be a bad end decision. So let's see if this is a bad end decision. I shouldn't be so apprehensive. Yep, this is a bad end decision. We have Caster cornered. If we retreat, we're only giving Caster a chance to win. Saber's sword flashes in a blur of movement. She's closed the distance and will likely cleave Caster in half with her next strike. But Saber suddenly stops. It's nothing Caster has done. Saber's own instincts seem to be stopping her from getting closer. You. That is... Saber twists away to dodge. Too late. She falters as if something has lifted her upward. Then, oh! Nice little background image showing us of this. Then, a strange dagger plunges into her chest. You just... Yes, this is my noble phantasm, Saber. It's a terribly weak weapon. It cannot create anything, and it certainly cannot kill a servant, or even a human. However, it is imbued with an indulgence from the Age of Gods, permitting it to and forgiving it for doing one very specific thing. Shiro, please run. Saber isn't injured, but she collapses to her knees anyway. Before I can figure out what's going on. Yep. The final command spell disappears from my left hand. This is just how I planned it, boy. Now if I can just collect the mage and that vessel inside, my victory will be assured. Caster raises her hand. Even without her chanting, the air wavers and blows me off my feet. I can't get up. My legs are an absolute mess from that blow, and simply won't move. It's about time. Now stand, Saber. Even if the gods punish you, I will forgive you. She snickers. Saber stands up. She walks in the same jerky manner as those bone soldiers, slowly approaching me as I lay immobile. Her eyes bulge like she's having a nightmare as she swings her sword down. Wonderful, Saber. Now you and I will both bear the guilt of killing our own masters. Yes, unified in our crimes, we shall curse this earth till its death. Caster's laughter assaults my eardrums. Without even understanding what's going on, I feel my body go rigid. Crimson stains the night. Saber stares down at my blood-soaked body, her eyes filled with tears. Dead end. Let's seek the advice of the Tiger Dojo. Okay, looks like the enemy's gone. My head. There's a bite mark on my head. Let's get ourselves together. Life is like a little bypass that leads straight to the bottom of the valley. Let's start Tiger Dojo, the rescue segment that saves Shiro, whose chances of coming back to this world are getting slimmer all the time. Okay, but Taiga, this dead end isn't different from the last one. Saber went berserk and stabbed Shiro again. You're right, but it's slightly different since this dead end could have been avoided if Shiro had tried a little harder. I don't think it's all Saber's fault. Oh, now that you mention it, Saber's not here. I guess she doesn't get as broken up about it. If it's only half her fault. Half her fault. And so we can operate Tiger Dojo without having to worry this time. Yeah, but there's actually not much to say. The choices won't really be subtle anymore either. The story's approaching its climax, so you won't get a good ending if you don't shape up. If you can just defeat Caster, there'll only be one enemy left. Win. Don't let your guard down. A crisis offers opportunity. Back up and fight? Ma'am, yes ma'am. Okay, well done. We'll see you next time at the Tiger Dojo. Okay, see you, Shiro. Yep, restart from the most recent decision point, and now I'm curious. So that was an up. So if we send Saber on ahead, theoretically, if it only offers us this one choice, then... Okay, interesting. No, Saber. Saber raises her sword. She's already closed in on Caster. No, don't, Saber. I desperately sprint towards Saber, my heart racing. Saber suddenly halts. It's not clear whether Caster did anything. Saber tenses up after sensing something from Caster. You. That is... Saber twists away to dodge. However, bony arms burst from the ground to grab her legs. I wasn't expecting you to have such foresight, but this ends here, Saber. A sharp blade emerges from the folds of Caster's robes. It's an oddly shaped dagger. Thin and brittle, that blade isn't meant for killing. Saber regards it in disgust and Caster strikes, clearly seeing her opportunity for victory. Being grabbed from the ground must have surprised Saber. Saber's unable to dodge or deflect the falling dagger, and simply takes the blow, looking astonished. You... I hear Caster's voice from behind me somewhere. I can't see her expression. The only thing I can do is throw myself in front of Saber and take the blow in her place. Ow. It wasn't graceful. I didn't have the confidence to just step in and take the dagger to the chest, so instead I tried to shield Saber, hugging her to obscure Caster's target. And so Caster's dagger plunges into my back, tearing through my spine in a moment of unbelievable pain. This should still theoretically work to steal Shiro's command spells. I stop myself from crying out in pain and muster the strength to support Saber. I can't hear what she's saying, even as close as she is to my ear. Get back, Saber. Get behind me. Saber understands before I can gather my voice to tell her to jump. I go flying. Saber shakes off the bony hands gripping her legs and carries me with her. Shiro, your wound. Saber's voice is urgent. She lays me gently on the ground, but the pain only grows worse. It feels like scissors tore open my back and someone poured lead down my spine. The pain is unreal. Shiro, stay calm, Shiro. But I'm not exactly losing my mind over it. Hearing Saber practically shouting actually makes me calmer. Dummy, you don't have to shout. I can hear ya. This is nothing. It just hurts. Forget about me. Take care of Caster. I point in Caster's direction. My head is still down. Yes, I will settle things right away. Please hold on a little longer. Saber turns toward Caster. So that was your noble phantasm, was it not, Caster? Saber's voice is harsh, angry. The black shadow clicks her tongue in irritation and raises the strange black dagger in hand. As you can see, it's unfit for killing anyone, but as you sensed, it has my magical trump card with limitless power for a single purpose. If you do not wish to touch it to touch you, then I advise against you coming near me, Saber. Caster's talking bold, but she doesn't seem as composed as earlier. Even a powerful mage like Caster can't hurt Saber so long as she's only using magecraft. Whatever her noble phantasm might be, it can't hurt Saber, even if she surprises her with it. You should beat her, no problem. I give my orders through gritted teeth. Are you sure, Saber? You could certainly corner me, but who will protect him while you do? Shall I remind you that my magecraft is only effective against you? Can you imagine what I might do with my back up against the wall and you not here to protect the boy? Why, you... Saber's voice rumbles from deep in her chest. Excuse me. The rattling of bones grows louder. Rattle, rattle. I'm kneeling on the ground and Saber holds her sword, defending me as the bones surround us. Damn it. I messed up. Even if I manage to save Saber, there's no point with me being left so weak. I can't move properly, so I'm just slowing Saber down. Caster would be no threat to Saber alone, but with me to worry about. You said you came to talk, Caster. Well, Saber? Please be quiet, Master. This is the best choice right now. Saber lowers her sword. I think I hear Caster laugh amidst the sound of rattling bones all around us. Let us hear what you have to say, Caster. Depending on what conditions you offer, we might let you go. Are you quite mad? Do you not understand your lives are in my hands? Get too bold and I might just crush you. Do not misunderstand your position. You hold my master's life in your hands, not mine. Ooh. Should you snuff out that life, I will not hesitate to attack. I will use every ounce of power in my sword to burn you to cinders, even if I disappear as I do so. The air around us goes cold. Saber's words intimidate Caster. I can feel it. Fine, I will not touch the boy. You're my target in any case. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to let just one master off. What? If I was your target all this time? Indeed, I cannot simply ignore the heroic spirit who defeated Berserker. You and I, along with Lancer, are the only servants who remain. With you as an ally, Lancer would be no threat at all. Only 3 remain. Does that mean Assassin was defeated? Who knows? But he's gone now, so that must mean he was defeated. A servant who can't even protect his own lord deserves no more than that. Assassin was defeated. Does that mean this master in Ryoto Temple is gone? I didn't fight them or even know who they were, but now there's one less master. So that only remaining servants are Saber, Caster, and Lancer, who hasn't shown up since that first night. The conversation is over. What I want is your noble phantasm. If you do not wish your master to die, then kindly give me your sword. There would be no point in doing so. Only I can wield the sword. If you are a heroic spirit, you should know very well that a noble phantasm can only be used by its owner. Oh yes, I suppose I'll just have to take you as well then, Saber. No matter how skilled the knight, they can be persuaded once captured. And you are my type, too. Oh boy. I still look forward to teaching you manners. Her voice drips with amusement. I don't think that's amusement. I can feel myself on the verge of passing out. I try to shove the pain aside and start to force myself to stand on numb legs. You piece of... I'm not going to let Saber get captured because of me. I decide I'm going to protect Saber, so I'm not going to let a wound like this bring me down. I grab my wooden sword and start slashing at the bones surrounding us. No, Shiro. Saber's voice is brittle, tense. Well, if you want to kill yourself, I won't stop you. Caster mocks me as I struggle. Bones crack and rattle, as if to muffle all those sounds. Coo! The bones are swept aside in the blink of an eye by a sudden volley of arrows. Not arrows. What? We all stand, dumbfounded. The arrows that rain down on us disappear as if they'd been an illusion. But they weren't. The entire horde of bones is gone. Who's there? Castor looks up. Saber must have noticed earlier. Well before Castor, she stares towards the wall in disbelief. Oh no! It was Blades! It was Blades! Don't like that hairdo. Dot, dot, dot. I don't understand what I'm seeing. There's a golden figure standing with the moon behind him. And it's a man clad in golden armor looking down at the yard with a cruel smile. Who's there? Castor raises her voice, instinctively realizing that this is the one who annihilated her troops. He gives no answer. He's not even looking at Castor. His eyes are fixed on one person alone. Saber. Answer, I'm asking who you are. Castor's voice is heavy with emotion. The golden-armored man finally looks at her. Castor gasps as the man's red eyes bore into her. His gaze is impossibly cold. He doesn't even see Castor as human. I can tell, as far away as I am. I don't blame Castor for being intimidated, like some icy hand has a grip on her heart as she looks straight into his eyes. Why are you getting in my way? Castor's voice trembles as she speaks. She must know she's doomed if she doesn't do something. But I have no reason to address myself to a mongrel. Begone, clown. Oh. His answer comes as a death sentence. I hear a loud snap. By the time I realize it's the sound of him clicking his fingers, the tragedy has begun. Myriad weapons appear in the air, shooting towards Castor like bullets from a machine gun. Castor raises her arm. A conceptual shield envelops her. It forms a glassy film in front of Castor. It's likely every bit as durable as Berserker himself. But her efforts are probably fruitless, as the barrier is merely glass. Her crystalline barrier shatters under the deadly rain of so many weapons. She sounds utterly dumbfounded, with not a modicum of concern for Castor as she so pitifully tilts her head in wonder. The weapons tear through her dark robe. They are merciless. Spears tear into her, sending fabric flying, only for yet more to plunge into her body. Swords cut down her falling form, while arrows sail toward an arm as if it's about to hit the ground. An axe chops off a head about to complain of pain. All it brings Castor to untold peaks of agony. She can't possibly survive. Castor, succumbing to an endless hail of so many different weapons, is no longer even recognizable as human. The wind flows. Her tattered, empty robe floats away. The shredded pieces of it fly skyward in the evening breeze. That torn robe tries valiantly to hold its form. Maybe because it's the only thing remaining to remind us of Castor. I'm completely speechless. My frozen mind is fixed on the miserable remnants of that robe as they float away. And then... Insolent fool. I told her to be gone from my sight. The sensible thing to do would have been to graciously commit suicide before me. The man in gold grunts contemptuously. I'm not hallucinating. The dark robe twists like the coils of a snake, then sprouts wings to fly away. But it's too late. I don't know what the man did. I can only see a crack in the night sky itself. Like a wave breaking out at sea, the fault line engulfs the fluttering robe. It's like a person being run over by a steamroller. The robe falls. casters beneath it unscathed. And then a storm of magical swords rained down upon her. That was a scream. Her scream splits the night. More swords fall upon her in response, and her screams grow louder. Pull them out. It hurts. Pull them out, please. Caster must be able to heal herself like Saber. Even all those swords impaling her is still not enough to kill her, but it's hard to watch. The torrent of swords do not stop. Each weapon is different. No two are alike. And as much as I don't want to admit it, each of the weapons is a magical sword or spear that easily is a match for a servant's noble phantasm. No way. That isn't possible. There can't be so many. An inexhaustible supply of noble phantasms rains down on Caster. Seeing the way she struggles under it is just... Am I going to die? Am I gonna die from something so ridiculous? How funny, this must be some joke. Waiting for the laugh. That wasn't too much of a laugh. And that's the end of Caster. She disappears along with the black mist that was hiding her. The infinite cycle of torture that seemed to drag on forever lasted in actuality about 10 seconds. During that time, Saber stood scowling at the Golden Knight. A mere mage even mentioning capturing what belongs to the King of Knights is a great sin. I am king, and she is mine. Any fool who meddles with the king's treasure is fit for nothing else but such a death. King of kings. King of heroes. Now then, it's been a while, Saber. Do you remember the decision I made? His tone turns amicable as he addresses Saber. But Saber doesn't answer. She only glares all the more intensely at him. Why do you look at me like that? Have you not made your choice yet? It's been 10 years. That should have been time enough to decide. I suppose it's only been 10 years for me. To you, it must seem like yesterday. What a foolish woman you are, making me wait so long. He laughs heartily. My heart's pounding. Partly from the disaster I just witnessed, but beyond that, the way he's looking at Saber is making me nauseous. Ah, some mongrels yet remain. He glances toward the house, annoyed. I look and see Tosaka and Ilya on the veranda in front of the living room. What is that? Ilya looks up at the man like she's seeing a ghost. She strains her eyes for a moment, then shakes her head in disbelief. No way. Who are you? Can't you tell, fool? I'm one of the heroic spirits you know so well. You can't be. Illy! Illy! It's Illy, everybody! Illy! Wow, can't believe that made it through. Ilya jumps off the veranda and glares at the man as if in challenge. I don't know you. There shouldn't be a servant I don't know about. Wait, Ilya. My words don't reach her. Ilya releases a mass of magical energy straight at the man. I hear it rushing through the air. He does nothing. A mirror shield appears in front of him and reflects Ilya's attack back at her. She'd be so blind and desperate in her attack that now she has no time to react to it. Ilya can only stand there as her attack rebounds toward her. That hurt. Tosaka steps in and saves her, blocking the attack. I see, so we have an odd one this time around. I see they've done a bit of creative thinking to avoid repeating their mistakes last time. He looks down at Ilya, scrutinizing her. He looks at Ilya the same way he looks at Saber, coldly as though appraising prized possessions. No, I hate you! Ilya glares at the man while Tosaka tries to hold her back. I cannot possibly care less. Come now, open yourself up. Quickly now, you are the fifth one, after all. He says it so simply. I'm not sure why that had any effect on her. No. Ilya trembles violently, then slumps to the ground. That's it. Nothing else can happen. Tosaka and I can only look up at the man. We completely understand. He's not looking at us. If either of us so much as speaks up, we'll meet the same fate as Castor. But not Saber. Her silence as she stares up at the Golden Knight is entirely different than ours. How and why have you manifested, Archer? Saber tries to keep her voice under control. Tosak and I can only gasp in surprise. I require no reason. The Holy Grail is mine. What reason could I need to collect what is mine? Nonsense. You're not that kind of hero. Or rather... Stop. Another word and you'll be forced to fight, King of Knights. I intended to do so, but I've lost interest. This place is too unsightly. It is not fit to celebrate our reunion. And with that, the man in gold turns away. He turns his back to us as if to demonstrate we are no threat. We shall meet again, Saber. My decision remains unchanged since our last meeting. Be prepared to make your choice by the next time we meet. He disappears. The tension fades and the yard returns to the usual tranquility. But it's the only thing that returns to how it was. The Emiya house is in shambles and Ilya has fainted. Excuse me. And Saber, still with her back to us, remains silent. New servant data added. Oh boy. New weapon added. Oh boy. I wonder who it is. It's more stuff on Castor? Nope, nothing more on Castor. Wait, why is Archer on here twice? Archer. True name, unknown. Master, unknown. 182 centimeters. He is almost 6 foot tall. He's about 5 foot 11 inches tall. Damn. 5 foot 11 at not even 150 pounds. Chaotic good is his alignment. B rank strength, C rank constitution, C rank agility, B rank magic, A rank luck, E X rank noble phantasm. Magic resistance E, protection against magecraft, cannot nullify magecraft but simply reduces the damage of a certain value. Independent action A+, skill that allows movement even without a master. Charisma A+, the ability to command and lead large armies. With this amount of charisma, it's closer to magecraft or a curse rather than a skill representing high esteem. We also had new weapon data. No. Durandal. Maybe? I don't remember seeing this. Durandal, the sacred sword of Roland the Paladin from medieval Europe. Durandal was said to have been granted to Charlemagne by angels, and he bestowed the sword upon Roland, chief among the 12 peers. It is said to be a radiant sword containing 3 miracles, and does not lose its sharpness, even if its wielder's magical energy is exhausted. As with Caliburn, it was forged to be a splendid symbol of authority. Harp, the divine sword that Perseus, the famous hero of Greek myth, used to slay the Gorgon Medusa. Harp is not particularly outstanding as a sword, but its most unique property is its ability to refract longevity. This is a divine power that nullifies powers of immortality, and wounds made by Harp can never be restored, though healing via natural laws is still possible. It was used to kill Medusa, the youngest of the 3 immortal sisters. Vajra, one of the core divine symbols of Indra, the god of thunder in ancient Indian mythology. Indra was a phenomenon initially spread to India by the Aryans, and Vajra is known officially as Sri Vijaya. As Buddhism grew in influence, Indra's name became Sakra, or Taishakuten, and his divine symbol's name changed as well. Vajra is a noble phantasm that can only be loosed once, dealing damage equivalent to a B+ rank. It is a convenient weapon that inflicts a fixed amount of damage regardless of the user's magical entry. Vajra refers to the diamond pestle carried by Buddhist gods. Dainsleif, the magic sword of the Nibelgunlind. Dainsleif is a cursed noble phantasm that brings ruin to its owner. The sword was passed through the tribe that killed the Norse hero Siegfried. It was initially part of the horde of Fafnir the dragon. It holds a powerful curse of retaliation, while also driving its owner's fate to ruin. Magical swords and sacred swords carry both glory and destruction, but this noble phantasm only brings destruction to its owner. And that is Assassins. That is Riders. This is Hercs. Heaven Scorched Halberd, so this is another one. Type of Ji polearm historically used in China. A Ji is a long-shafted weapon used for piercing, striking, and many other uses. It is a versatile weapon that anyone can be trained on, but nonetheless, it faded into history until it was revived as Feng Tian Ji, Heaven Scorcher Halberd, in the Song Dynasty. Piercing, slashing, hooking, repelling. While there are many ways to use this polearm, exceptional technique is required to master it. The crescent-shaped blade is called a Yueya, a Moonfang, and a Ji that only mounts a single Yueya is called a Qinlong Ji, or a Cerulean Dragon Halberd. Out of the many Heaven Scorcher halberds, did only this weapon sublimate to a noble phantasm because it was used regularly by a famous warrior? Who knows? Who knows? I set a futon out in the living room and laid the unconscious Ilya on it. She may have fainted, but her face is peaceful, at least. Okay, don't look away, the bandages will slide off. I feel a hand slap my back. Oh, Tosaka, is that any way to treat the injured? Shut up. I'm treating your wounds, so hold still. Come on, raise your right hand. I doubt you need it, but let me put some ointment on it. Cold. If you can feel it, you're fine. Come on, let me wrap it. She wraps the bandage around my right shoulder with surprising skill. It's past 10. After our battle with Caster, Tosaka began treating my wounds as soon as we got back to the living room. Well, she started, but most of my wounds had already healed, so now she's just fussing over me. And we're done. Your body is nuts. Only vampires heal like you do. Are you sure you're human? I think she said something similar before. Hey, I'm just an ordinary human being. Even I don't know what's going on with my body, so don't bother asking. Don't mess with me. Who in the world could possibly be walking normally after getting their spinal cord severed? Look, it's useful, so I won't question it too much, but it's also getting creepy. Don't tell me you can't actually die unless your head is chopped off. Oh, he can die. The scary thing here is that Tosaka is serious. One of these days, she might actually try for my neck with an axe. You think so too, right, Saber? I think you're the cause, but still, he's damn near immortal. Are you saying Shiro's healing power is not his own? Well, of course not. Do you think someone who only knows strengthening magecraft could do something like that? This ridiculousness can only be the result of a connection with you. Your own healing power must be flowing into him. Do you think so? I never felt that kind of connection with him before. If you're correct, my magical energy should be flowing into Shiro as we speak. More importantly, my healing power is not as strong as Shiro. What's wrong? You just went pale. Saber stares off into space, apparently not even hearing Tosaka. No, it can't be. Saber shakes her head and looks down. Tosaka and I exchange looks. Saber's acting weird. Actually, I know why. Ever since that Golden Knight appeared, Saber's been pretty down. Well, let's put Shiro's issue on hold for now. Saber, did you know that gold guy we met earlier? Goldie said something about you being his or something. Excuse me. Saber doesn't answer. She obviously doesn't want to talk about it. But I still want to know. Tosaka's asking the questions I want answers to. If you know, then tell us. Who was the guy? You called him Archer. Yes, I hate to admit it, but I know that man. It should be impossible, though. There should be only 7 servants, so it shouldn't be possible for him to have been summoned as well. A servant, so he really is a servant. That's pretty obvious. That could be a real problem for us. His class is Archer. He's of course a completely different heroic spirit than the Archer who formed a contract with Rin. His abilities and temperaments are different as well. I can tell. I only saw him briefly, but that was more than enough time to get a sense of what a monster he is. Hold on a minute. That doesn't make sense. If he's an archer and a servant, that makes 8. But only 7 servants can be summoned at a time. One disappearing doesn't mean another pops up to take their place. Besides, even the Holy Grail doesn't have the magical energy to summon more than 7. There are only 7 servants because that's how many can be summoned at once. So how can they summon an 8th? Wait. Saber, did you meet him in your previous war? Yes, Rin. On my final day in the previous Holy Grail War, I fought him in a sea of fire. For a moment, my entire body tenses. Saber fought in a sea of fire. This is nothing new. I already heard from Kotomine that the fire was caused by the Holy Grail War, so it shouldn't be a surprise. I've been trying not to think about it all this time. So what happened? Did you manage to beat him? I did not defeat him. That is, I could not defeat him because You were beaten instead. Unlike your messed up summoning through Shiro, you couldn't beat this guy when you were summoned properly. Saber hangs her head but doesn't answer. And that's answer enough. Saber couldn't win? Not this imperfect Saber hobbled by my weakness, but Saber with nothing holding her back. Is that even possible? If you consider expressively in terms of her strength as a swordsman, Saber isn't invincible. She was weaker than Berserker, but Saber has her Noble Phantasm. The other servants' Noble Phantasms are powerful, but Saber's exceeds them all. It's hard to believe there could be a hero in this world her sacred sword can't defeat. Then there's only one explanation. He wasn't summoned for this war. He must be a servant who remained from the previous war. Nothing else makes sense. My mind stops working. It's not that I agree with Tosaka's assessment, but she's just described what I've been hoping could be possible since yesterday. But that is... There are no buts. It's the only possible explanation. Only 7 servants can be summoned for each Holy Grail war. If there were any other servants here, wouldn't that mean they are the winners who survived the previous war? There's a heavy silence. Yet, why does Tosaka look so pleased? Why do you look so happy? Isn't it obvious? There's a precedent. I don't know who that guy is, but he's the servant who won the last Holy Grail war, right? Then he must have obtained the Holy Grail, and he's staying in this world with its power. That means he's proof that as long as you obtain the Holy Grail, a servant can remain in this world. I'd like to capture him and question him for more information. Oh, that's hilarious, Rin. Oh, man. In context, that is hilarious. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Tosaka. I don't who the heck that guy is, but he's a servant, and he's remained in this world since the previous war. Once again, missing a word this time. Not a letter, but a whole word. Translation team, you gotta step it up, man. Which means there's a way for Saber to do the same. Well, I don't know who he is or what his motives are, but it doesn't change the fact that he's an enemy we need to defeat. Saber, so what's his true identity? I do not know. Even during the previous war, I could not determine his identity. That's a lie! He did not have any Noble Phantasm specific to him. He didn't have a Noble Phantasm that made it clear who he was. That's ridiculous. A servant who doesn't have a Noble Phantasm wouldn't be a servant, right? Besides, he just... That's right, he had plenty of them. It shouldn't be too hard to figure out his identity since he used so many. We just need to figure out which hero would match the shapes and sizes of the Noble Phantasms he used. Then I shall ask you this. Do you remember any of the Noble Phantasms he used? Of course I do. Tosaka thinks hard for a moment. She folds her arms over her chest, frowning, and then just tilts her head in confusion. No way. That's impossible. What's going on, Tosaka? What's impossible? I don't believe it. The one covered in blood was Dine's Leif. And that sickle-looking thing was Harp. There was one that looked like Chinese, too, and I think one that looked like it was used by a Kala. Tosaka looks almost crazed as she mutters to herself. She looks a bit like she's tumbling down a rabbit hole. So that one was similar to Saber's sword, but it should be different. The simple design looked like it must have come from Northern Europe, and I heard most originals of magic swords tend to take their cues from Nordic sources. She even started to grind her teeth. Leaving her to her own devices will do more harm than good. If I don't stop her right now, we'll wind up paying the price later. Especially me. Come back to us. That's face. Shut it, Shiro. Your butting in is just confusing me. I'm not trying to butt in. You're talking about that guy's Noble Phantasms, right? Judging just from their shapes, that was Dine's Harp, Durandal, Vajra, Kaldabalg, and Gabolg. I don't know the Chinese one, but I think I covered all the famous ones. You're right on all accounts. I don't love the face she's making. It leaves me feeling even worse. I don't know much, but I just blurted out what leaped into my head. But what does that mean? There's no hero who has such an insane number of Noble Phantasms, and more importantly, the weapons are from all over the place. I have no idea what the hell's going on. Yes, that's why even I could not discern his identity. He employed a wide variety of noble phantasms, each of which should have been a sign of a specific hero. Archer had so many I could not narrow down his identity. The two looked perplexed. Well, with so many noble phantasms, we have no hopes of determining who he is. It's like hiding a leaf in a forest. Don't you have any suggestions? Tosaka, obviously annoyed, glares at me, expecting I'm not sure what. She's just taking her frustration out on me, I guess. Like what? Like anything you noticed or deduced, any flash of inspiration. We need some real outside-the-box thinking here. Our only chance at solving this predicament is through sheer luck. Excuse me. My mouth is going dry. She may be right. I get it. You're making fun of me. Rude. I was just thinking you're no help in the first place, so what do you think? I've got nothing. I raise my hands up in surrender. Tosaka groans. That leaves us with only one conclusion. Saber, do you think all noble phantasms are fakes? There's no other explanation. I agree. However, they weren't fakes. How did I figure that out? Besides, fake noble phantasms wouldn't have harmed Caster. How do you figure, Emiya? I'm just saying they were real. Actually, everything else seemed fake. It's intuition. I can't explain it, but all of those were real. Lancer's Gay Bulg is real, of course, but the spear the other guy used is also the real Gay Bulg. What? Her making that face isn't making explaining this any easier. It doesn't help that I have no idea how I know this. I just know all his noble phantasms are real. I can feel it. Maybe it's because I used a projection during our battle against Berserker. After seeing all those noble phantasms, I can tell they're all real. A great weapon is imbued with specific concepts, while imitations lack something. I learned that much when I replicated Saber's sword. In that regard, I think all noble phantasms that servants had were perfect. Let's just set what Shiro said aside. Since we don't know what that guy's true identity, we should think of our next moves. Tosaka seeks a glance at Saber. Assuming he's after the Holy Grail, there is one more thing bothering me. Can I be blunt? Why does she always have that mischievous look when it comes to topics like this? What do you mean, Rin? If there's something you would like to know, you need not hold back. Are you sure? Okay then. What do you think of him, Saber? From the way he was talking about you, he seems to have the hots for you. I'm not following Tosaka's lead, but I also sneak a glance towards Saber. I don't think Tosaka has it wrong. He seemed obsessed with Saber. Actually, it's beyond being obsessed. From the very beginning, he only saw Saber as his possession. I do not care what he thinks. I do, however, recall him proposing marriage in the previous war. Of course, I banished that idea with my sword. Propose? You mean that kind of proposal? What the heck is that servant thinking? I don't know that I should celebrate that, but I get the sense you don't feel too bad about it either. It's flattering for a woman being proposed to, even after you've become a servant. That's not true, and I do not have that kind of freedom. My only goal is to obtain the Holy Grail. Honestly, that kind of nonsense irritates me. Really? You might feel that way, but he seemed really into you. Guys like that. They don't get discouraged, even when you reject them. You're stubborn too, so maybe you two are a good match. Tosaka's being irresponsible, so I'm not sure why she looks so amused. She looks like she's happy to have a conversation like this with Saber, even though Saber seems disinterested. I keep telling you that I have no interest in such things. He's certainly a skilled heroic spirit, but he and I are of vastly different minds. Saber's responses are at least sincere. Oh, did you hear that, Shiro? Saber has no interest in men. Relieved. Rin, Shiro has nothing to do with this conversation. There is no logic in what you just said. I figured. My bad, but if you're not sure why I'm so amused, I have to say this whole thing is just funny. Tosaka laughs menacingly. Her eyes make it clear she's laughing at me as much as at Saber. I don't know what's pissing me off, but I get up without a word. Hey, where are you going, Shiro? Tea. I'm getting thirsty and I figured I'd prepare tea for everyone. I huff and head towards the kitchen. I don't know why, but I'm just irritated, so I decide to make super bitter tea for Tosaka. Ha! Revenge tea. Then I'm going back to my room for now. Let's talk more tomorrow, when Ilya wakes up. After teasing Saber for a good while, Tosaka gulps down her bitter tea and gets up. Yeah, go to sleep. Don't come back here. Fine, fine, I'm leaving the rest of you here. I don't know why she's so amused, but Tosaka's mood seems good even as she turns back to the outbuilding. What will you be doing, Shiro? Your wounds may have healed, but you should not push yourself. You should also rest for the night. Yeah, I intend to, but I'm gonna watch Ilya a little more. If she seems alright, I'll take her to the spare room and I'll go to bed too. I see. Then I will stay as well. And that's where our conversation ends. Tosaka was the one making all the noise, so it's just gotten awkward now that it's quiet. Well, it's not that it's awkward. I'm anxious because there's so many questions rattling around in my head, and so many things I want to say. Come to think of it, I haven't really been able to talk to Saber. About the Holy Grail. About her not being dead. About how even if she obtains the Holy Grail, there's no salvation for her. There's no need to explain why. She still doesn't have a wish for herself. About our conversation earlier. Our eyes meet. Hers tell me she knows what I want to say. Yes. What is it, Shiro? She tries to divert what I have to say with her quiet tone, but I have to talk to her. I said about our earlier conversation. Tosaka said servants can stay in this world if they obtain the Holy Grail, so... No. I have no intention of remaining here. The moment I obtain the Holy Grail, I will return to my original time. So you're going to redo the selection of the king, rather than saving yourself from the brink of death. You want to start over from the very beginning. Yes, it's the king's duty to protect their nation. I was inadequate, so I must at least select an appropriate king in my stead. She says this like she's talking about a stranger. For some reason, I get real mad. You idiot, wake up! To hell with the king's duty. What matters is that you're here, so you should do what you want to do. You're strong, right? Then finish off this war right now, get your Holy Grail, and quit being a servant. If you have a wish, don't use it to go back in time and redo everything. If you want to change, don't change your past self, but find a way to change now. Then to return to your past from here. Saber doesn't answer. She sighs. You're very persistent, Shiro. Please let this matter rest. She rejects what I said outright. Obtaining the Holy Grail does not mean I can remain in this age. Archer, that servant does not remain in this age because he obtained the Holy Grail. It was not possible to obtain the Holy Grail in the previous war. What do you mean? One cannot obtain what does not exist. On that night, when the town was ablaze, the Holy Grail was destroyed. Destroyed by my master who betrayed me. Kiritsugu Emiya. Ayy. Getting that reveal. What? The edges of my vision go dark. I nearly fall backwards but catch myself with both hands. Kiritsugu Emiya? Yes, 10 years ago he was my master in the previous Holy Grail War. Kiritsugu and I survived until the very end and the Holy Grail was in Kiritsugu's hands. Archer and his master were still left, and we had only to defeat them to bring an end to the Holy Grail War. But Kiritsugu abandoned the Holy Grail. As a result, the town was consumed in flames. He ordered me to destroy the Holy Grail, as servants are the only ones capable of touching it. He used his final command spell to force me to destroy the Holy Grail. With the Holy Grail gone, servants could not remain in this world. Kiritsugu did not try to keep me here. That is my last memory. I could not conclude my battle with the Golden Knight Archer, nor ask Kiritsugu why he betrayed me. It's not like I never thought about it. My old man was a mage. If he lived in this town, he could have been involved in a Holy Grail war. But still... Why didn't you tell me, Saber? Why didn't you tell me my old man was a master? A servant typically does not retain their memories from previous summonings, and the same heroic spirit is not typically summoned as a servant consecutively. I'm an exception to this rule. That's why I determined it would be best not to mention that to you. And I was not eager to speak with you about what sort of master Kiritsugu was. Why didn't you want to tell me? Shiro, in much the same way you have witnessed my past in my dreams, I've seen your past as well. Welcome back, J6. Welcome back. You missed the Golden Archers the Golden Archer's appearance. You missed it. You did 2 Mega Latios raids. Nice. Shiny at all, did you get? I was surprised by your past and could not believe how much Kiritsugu had changed. The Kiritsugu Emiya of your memories was a wonderful person, but he's nothing like the man I remember. In brief, he was a typical mage. He acted purely out of self-interest and he destroyed anything in his way. I saw not a hint of human emotion from him. Nice. In the course of the entire war, he spoke to me only 3 times. I do not think I need to explain those 3 occasions to you. He was not brutal or gleeful murderer. He was wholly without emotion. Kiritsugu treated me as nothing more than a tool, and saw himself in much the same way. He killed every single one of his own emotions, just as he killed each of his enemies. I never learned what drove him, or what he believed in, but in the moment I stood before the Holy Grail, he commanded me to destroy it. To be honest, never have I been more bitterly cursed by command spells or betrayer than in that moment. There's truth in Saber's words. No, they must all be true. I realized I knew nothing about what Kiritsugu was like before I met him. There was no way for me to find out what kind of person he'd been before that, and there was no need. Even if Kiritsugu Emiya was cold-hearted, it wouldn't change a thing. The man who adopted Shiro Emiya as his son was so much warmer. That's the only truth about him to me. But what nags at me is, Kiritsugu truly was so ruthless that his final moments were just too empty and futile. I see. But maybe I was able to summon you because I'm Kiritsugu's son. I do not know. He summoned me after taking the proper steps. He had the aptitude to be a master, and so was hired by a mage family with a long history to join the Holy Grail War. I hear that house provided everything he needed to be a master. They excavated a relic of King Arthur from Cornwall and gave it to Kiritsugu to use in the Holy Grail War. He used that as a catalyst to summon me, King Arthur. And so he did not possess a connection to me, nor did he possess any attributes in common with me. It must be some other factor which enabled you to summon me. I got it. I'm not that surprised my old man was a master. What does surprise me is that his servant is the same King Arthur with me now. And one more thing. She said the Holy Grail was destroyed. Then maybe this war is meaningless to begin with. I don't get it. You already knew there's no Holy Grail, right? So why did you decide to join this ridiculous war? Cannot say for certain whether the Holy Grail is truly here or not, but so long as I have been summoned, there must be a Holy Grail. Have you forgotten, Shiro? I become a servant expressly to obtain the Holy Grail. Put another way, I could not be summoned to a place if there was no Holy Grail. Oh yeah, but... Then does that mean Holy Grail can fix itself after it's destroyed? No, the Holy Grail is not something that can be easily replaced. A Holy Grail once destroyed cannot be restored. But it should exist. Servants are drawn to the Holy Grail and manifest. Without a Holy Grail, servants will not appear. The priest mentioned that already. The priest. Oh yeah, that guy. The guy living in the church, the overseer of the Holy Grail War. The man who's managing the Holy Grail should be able to answer all of my questions. The end of the previous war, the whereabouts of the destroyed Holy Grail, and how that archer is still around. And yeah, what did Kiritsugu see at the end of the battle that made him want to destroy the Holy Grail? My mouth is dry. I wake up alone. Even if she's recovered, Saber still needs to sleep on occasion. The moment we return to our room, Saber immediately falls asleep. I went to bed as well, if only to make her feel better. That was about an hour ago. It's past midnight. I should be able to get out of the house without Saber or Tosaka noticing at this hour. Shiro, don't be a dummy. Just go to your shed, man. Your shed. No, Shiro, stop. Shiro. Shiro. I sneak outside, trying not to make a sound. Shiro Emiya patented stubborn/idiocy. The fate route. I thought of using the bike, but I'd just run the risk of waking them up. So I walk. He's going to Kotomine. There's not a single person outside. It's late, but the silence is still eerie. The air is frozen, and there doesn't seem to be any sign of life in the buildings. On the other hand, it feels like something dark and sinister is swirling at my feet. Did something happen to the town while Ilya had me prisoner? It's like a bad omen hangs over the entire place. This isn't my imagination. I looked up towards the mountain in the distance. Rito Temple, which stands a distance away from town, only looks like a black lump from here. And that looks like it's swaying in the night air, rumbling and throbbing. It's the power of the Grail starting to manifest with 5 servants filling it. I cross the dark river and walk into Shinto. So it's been 10 days. On that day, the night I met Saber for the first time and then walked across the bridge with Tosaka, seemed so long ago. I see the church. Never been here before. I may have said as much to Tosaka, but I do have a connection with that church. If things had gone differently, I would have ended up under the care of the church and then been adopted by some family later on. It would have either been the Emiya family or that church. One hell of a fork in the road. Oh, you wouldn't have been adopted, Shiro. You would not have been adopted. 10 years ago, all the kids in that hospital were orphans. The church took them all in, at least temporarily. I was the only one in that group of orphans to be adopted from the hospital. That's probably why I've been unconsciously avoiding the church out of guilt. That's also why, 11 days ago, I told Tosaka it was my first time going to the church. The lights inside the church are on. I don't really like that priest, but there are things I need to ask him. Okay, let's go. Take a deep breath and put my hand on the heavy church doors. Father Kotomene, are you here? I step inside as I call out for him. There is nobody in the chapel. The lights are on, but this vast space is so quiet, I find myself more nervous than if it were dark. Hey, is anybody here? There's no reply. I can't keep going in further, so I might have to give up tonight. I whirl around when I hear a sound from behind me. What brings you here at this hour? The suddenness of his appearance leaves me speechless. It is the dead of night. I'd hoped to go to sleep, but the look on your face tells me you want to pretend to perform some sort of penance, Shiro Emiya. Kotomene sounds bored and turns back to the door he came through. Hold on, I came here to ask you something. I know that I do not intend to turn anyone away, no matter how odd an hour they choose to arrive. As he says so, he opens the door to the back of the church. Follow me. I'm sure you're here to talk about the Holy Grail War. I cannot allow such bloody talk here. He does not bother asking my opinion, he just disappears into the back of the church. I've come this far, I can't go home empty-handed. I steel myself determined not to let Kotomene intimidate me this time, and head towards the back of the church. The outside's impressive, but the inside's pretty intricate too. This must be a courtyard. The garden and the passageways are too magnificent for Kotomene to live here alone. What are you doing? If you want to talk, come with me. Bad idea, Shiro. The priest disappears around yet another corner. Damn it, he's not waiting for me. I complain to myself as I chase after Kotomene. The church is a small labyrinth, so I don't have any choice but to follow him. We enter a modest stone chamber. A simple room, far from the elegance of that chapel and courtyard, must be his private room. Please forgive my inability to offer you anything in the way of hospitality. He makes his apology as he plops down onto the sofa. I smell the faint aroma of what might be wine. From the smell lingering in this room, he must really like wine. What is wrong? I thought you came here to talk. If you're going to just stand there like a fool, I'm going to be very annoyed. Nobody's standing around like a fool. I was just looking around because this room seemed weird. I'm going to go home as soon as I finish my business here. That is a relief. I have no time to chat with children. I ask that you be brief. The priest really gets on my nerves. I feel like he's reading my mind, and whenever I try to deal with him directly, I just get intimidated. So, what is it you wanted to talk about, Shiro Emiya? I thought I already told you everything I could. Don't lie. You knew all along. You knew my old man was Saber's master and that the Holy Grail was destroyed. You are the overseer here to manage the Holy Grail, so you can't not know. Oh, did Saber tell you herself? Yeah, I heard that's how the last Holy Grail War ended. The priest falls silent, contemplating something. It is unusual for a servant to retain memories from previous summons. Either Saber is defective or there is something unusual about her. Either way, I cannot say she is a normal servant. Heroic spirits do not retain their memories. False! As they are summoned in the past, present, and future, the retained memories of these summonings would create contradictions. Not really! They instead have memories only from their lives. Any memories made after their death, once they become heroic spirits, should not remain with them. They do, though. He ponders this as if he still isn't convinced. I get it. He doesn't know Saber hadn't fully become a heroic spirit, so he can't truly understand the situation. That's not what's going on. Her circumstances are different from other servants. Different circumstances? I see, so this must be why you visited me. Very well. Tell me. His haughty attitude pisses me off, but I don't have time to deal with that too. I don't like it, but this man might be able to give me a clear explanation. It seems she isn't dead yet. Her contract to become a heroic spirit isn't complete. It appears she wished for the Holy Grail just as she was dying and agreed to become a counter-guardian as the price of obtaining it. Excuse me. So see, she's not completely dead. She won't die until she obtains the Holy Grail, and that's when she'll become a counter-guardian. in the normal sense. Not dead, then she must still be in the cycle of reincarnation. Are you saying she's not removed from the flow of time like other heroic spirits? Yeah, I think that's what it means. Tosaka said Saber's basically being carved out of time. I see, so rather than disappearing after her role is finished like typical heroic spirits, she'll be summoned as a heroic spirit again and again until she obtains the Holy Grail. But since she has yet to obtain it, whenever her attempt to gain one fails, she's sent back to the moment of her death, and now she has been summoned for this war and retains her memories from the last. I really can't say I understand heroes who go out of their way to seek the Holy Grail only to die. But once she obtains it, the only fate awaiting her is being used by others as a counter-guardian. Right? Even if she gets the Holy Grail and has her wish granted, she'll just become another counter-guardian. I don't like that. Besides, what are counter-guardians? You say you use heroic spirits like familiars, but there are contradictory heroic spirits like Saber? Who knows? I don't know a great deal about how that part of the system works. The permanence of the soul, the servant system, was created to imitate that secret method. Only those who established the system would know more. The permanence of the soul. Well, I'm only speaking of how it was in the past. It doesn't really matter anymore. Forget it. So, Shiro Emiya, bottom line, you do not want your Saber to be a servant any longer, correct? You do not want Saber to become a counter-guardian when this war ends, correct? Is that what I want? I do think Saber's situation is messed up. Aiming for the Holy Grail is all well and good, but afterwards the only thing waiting for her is her disappearance. Even if someone other than King Arthur is chosen as the king, and when King Arthur ceases to exist in our history, the hero King Arthur will continue to be used by the counter-force. And that seems wrong to me. So if she can stop being a counter-guardian and just live a normal life. That is impossible. The dead cannot come back to life. It does not matter if she is frozen in time. To us, Saber has already died. The power of the Holy Grail is what summoned her here. It is what keeps her here. And this is possible because she agreed to the conditions of becoming a counter-guardian. If she does not seek the Holy Grail, she will not be summoned as a counter-guardian. But as long as she continues to seek it, no matter how long it takes, she will eventually become a counter-guardian. Even if she fails this time, she will have infinite other chances. Saber is frozen in time and so cannot attempt 2 Holy Grail wars simultaneously, and she cannot re-attempt a trial once failed. If she failed a trial once, she will fail again no matter how many times she tries. She's already experienced it, and so the result cannot be changed. It is likely only a matter of time before she obtains the Holy Grail. This Holy Grail war is not the only chance she has at doing so. There are trials to obtain the Holy Grail in every era. If she fights in every war, she will eventually obtain the Holy Grail. After all, she is being summoned as a heroic spirit because she's under the belief she will obtain the Holy Grail. From the moment she came before you as a servant, the option of making her stop being a counter-guardian was non-existent. I knew it. As long as Saber seeks the Holy Grail, there's no way she can avoid becoming a counter-guardian. She will stay like this forever unless she's decided to use the Holy Grail for herself. Even if the Holy Grail war ends and there's no need to fight anymore. If she doesn't obtain the Holy Grail, she just has to try again next time. The moment she obtains it, she's turned into a counter-guardian and is sent all across time. So whether she obtains the Holy Grail or not, she'll remain a counter-guardian. No, she'll remain this one is servant. This one is servant. Well, not necessarily. If the Holy Grail is truly omnipotent, it may be able to save Saber. But you just said that was impossible. Correct, there is no way to stop Saber from becoming a servant. But what you desire is for her to remain in this world, yes? That is not so difficult. A servant can remain here, human, once the Holy Grail war ends. Though once she dies, she will return where she was just before she died. How do I do that? Heroic spirits and servants are similar, but there are differences. Normally, heroic spirits are not summoned with a will of their own. They are simply summoned as a tool to fulfill specific goals, after which they disappear. So many false statements here, but this is Kotomene, so that's not too surprising. But servants are different. They are the original body that was summoned by the Holy Grail. As such, they can live human lives just by remaining in this world. Can you do something like that? She said the Holy Grail disappeared the moment it was destroyed last time. Without the Holy Grail, I thought servants can't stay. Of course they cannot. The Holy Grail is what summons servants. It is the Master's role to maintain them following the summoning. That, however, is only possible because the Holy Grail is aiding the Master. Typically, a single mage cannot produce enough magical energy to maintain a servant. Without an incredible source of magical energy like the Holy Grail, servants will disappear. I figured. Then... well, if there is a shortfall, one only need to compensate for it. That is all supplying magical energy to servants is. Their natural tendency is to consume souls. If their existence starts to fade, Yeah, I know. I can't help but point out the contradictions, though, J6. I can't help it. It's like I'm reading a false rendition of the past and just saying, oh man, that's changed already. Yeah, that's different. Is he telling me to attack random people like Shinji did? The hell? I can't let her do that. Anyway, she wouldn't want to remain here if that's what she had to do to do it. Is that so? Then you would have to use the contents of the Holy Grail. It's quite simple. If you truly want Saber to live as a human, have her drink from the Holy Grail. Now, from a meta perspective, that sounds like a terrible idea. Like, I do genuinely wonder what would happen if Saber drank from the Holy Grail in the Stay Night timeline. He must have anticipated my resistance. The look on his face tells me that this is the conclusion he wanted me to reach this whole time. Are you telling me to grant my wish using the Holy Grail? No, this has nothing to do with your wish. I'm talking about the contents of the Holy Grail. But what about a ramen bowl? J6, what about a ramen bowl? Did Rin not tell you? Servants are able to start a second life in this world by drinking the water of the Holy Grail. Though this method only establishes their position as a familiar in this age, their physical body remains that of a servant, and they would remain in this world only for so long as their master lives. That means that's no solution. Even if she were able to stay in this world, it would be pointless if she's still a servant. She wouldn't be able to exist without magical energy from her master, and even if she managed to live in this world for a long time, she'd just go back to that hill after her death. Saber would never agree to such a thing. She doesn't care about a second life. She insists she's going to use the Holy Grail for something else. Then again, does the Holy Grail, the key to all this, even still exist in this world? I've heard enough. Basically, you're telling me to get the Holy Grail, but does the Holy Grail even exist? If my old man destroyed it, wouldn't it... What? If the Holy Grail doesn't exist, then there's no reason to fight. This ridiculous fight to the death is pointless. There is no reason to fight, you say? Why bring that up now? You never had a reason to fight in the first place. He says that, and time seems to just stop. There is no reason to fight. He told me that before. I just become a master, and I didn't have much of a reason to fight. So at the time, what he said didn't sink in. I just ignored him, thinking he was being sarcastic. But what about now? There's a reason for me to fight. If there's a Holy Grail, I want to end this war, and if possible, I want to give the Grail to Saber. There is a reason for me to fight, and a perfectly good one at that. But why? Why do those simple words make me shake so much that I feel like I'm going to throw up everything I've held in for so long? Let's leave that aside for now. This is not the time to open old wounds. A voice shatters the stillness that had locked up my thoughts. It's the voice of a man I don't want to hear, but that voice at least settles the wave of nausea I feel creeping up on me. The Holy Grail is here. The Holy Grail is only a receptacle anyways. Once it's gone, someone else will prepare another Holy Grail. Someone will prepare another one. Is a Holy Grail easy to make? Speaking only of the vessel, yes. Of course, it requires a certain amount of skill, but without that skill, the Holy Grail war would not be possible in the first place. The Holy Grail is not a cup that received the blood of God. That it is based on a magical pot passed down from ancient times. If you are a mage, you should know about it. Utopia. The word is Greek and refers to a place that cannot be found or reached. It is said that an omnipotent pot would grant any wish existed in such a place. And there were mages who tried to reproduce this omnipotent pot, which became the foundation for most mythology. There were three families, Ainsburn, Makiri, and Tosaka. They spent many generations researching the ritual to reproduce the omnipotent pot. 200 years ago, they managed to complete it. That was the first Holy Grail War, the ritual that attempted to open a path by calling forth the omnipotent pot that was nothing more than an artificial Holy Grail. Is that Ilya's family? Correct. The Ainsburns were able to use Rheingold. Their ability to replicate the Holy Grail was unparalleled. But that alone cannot summon the Holy Grail. It also requires suitable land and a powerful spell. These the Tosaka and the Makiris provided. At the time, the Church and the Mage Association were in the middle of a war. As such, a land in the Far East where the Church held no sway seemed ideal for the ritual. The Ainsburns must have anticipated something like this happening, and they invited the Tosaka clan to join forces. The Tosaka clan was the owner of the spiritual land in this area, and their master was a skilled necromancer. Without the Tosakas, summoning the Holy Grail would likely have been impossible for the Ainsburns. Of course, the two families betrayed each other. Thinking the situation should be a system of checks and balances, the Tosakas brought in the Makiri family. The Makiris are a family with substantial history. They are exceptionally skilled with handling familiars. They were the ones who came up with the idea of command spells to bind the servants. And thus the three worked together to summon the Holy Grail, but the moment they succeeded, a fight to the death broke out. The first summoning of the Holy Grail ended while the families were busy fighting each other. As time went on, they set down rules and called it a Holy Grail War, and eventually returned to working together. On the surface, anyway. The Tosaka provided the land and the system to model the servants, Makiri provided the command spells to bind the servants, and the Ainsburns provided the vessel for the Holy Grail to inhabit. That was the nature of their cooperation. I'm not sure what's so amusing about this, but the priest seems to enjoy telling me about it. And they say the Holy Grail War is a ritual, but I didn't know Ilya and Tosaka families were the ones who created the whole thing. The Ainsburns prepare the Holy Grail. As Kiritsuga betrayed them last time, they have put their greatest trump card into play, which is to say the Ainsburn girl probably holds the Holy Grail. Gosh, as soon as I get to like a good saving point, I've got to stop because my words are stuttering and my mouth is so freaking dry. Elia holds the Holy Grail. That's weird. I don't think I saw anything among her belongings that looked like the Holy Grail. Are you satisfied? I do not know what you're agonizing over. The Holy Grail is your only solution. Now that you understand that, go home. The battle is not over. For you to walk without Saber at your side is simply insane. That's none of your business. I'm aware Lancer's master is still around. Hold on. There's one more thing I need to ask. Servants disappear once their Holy Grail war disappears. That's what you said, right? I did. Do you take issue with that? Yeah, big time. I don't know who it was, but there's an 8th servant. According to Saber, he's been in this world since the previous war. What? I can see he's shocked. His eyes go wide. What's going on, Kotomine? I came here thinking you might know something about this. There's a servant who didn't disappear, you say? It's not so strange. The previous war ended with Saber destroying the Holy Grail. So there is one servant who remained apart from Saber. She disappeared on her own, but if this servant desired to remain in the world, the answer is simple. They must have supplemented magical energy by feeding on souls to stay alive these past 10 years. That's impossible. That servant was frighteningly powerful. If someone like that hung around for 10 years, someone like you or my old man would have detected them. I'm well aware. Someone was likely hiding them. Either their master or what? A mage who knew about the Holy Grail War but did not become a master. I know one person, but it's not possible. Old man Makiri has long since retired. Kotomene must be satisfied as he gets up from the sofa. This is the end of our conversation. After learning what I just have, I cannot simply dismiss this matter. Given my role as overseer, I shall investigate the servant. You should concentrate on your battle against the remaining Lancer. He heads to the exit, indicating there's nothing else to discuss. There's definitely nothing more to gain by staying here. I follow him out into the dark stone room. From there, he leads me to the entrance in silence. Man, Shiro, you need to level up your wisdom. I leave the church, and behind me, Saber will die once she obtains the Holy Grail. I do hope you understand what that means, Shiro Emiya. The priest puts that to me, maybe to make certain I remember. He watches me from the door with a condescending twist to his lips. She will die if she obtains the Holy Grail. I don't need anyone to remind me of that. Saber's goal is to obtain the Holy Grail only, but she doesn't want its power for herself. And as long as she obtains the Holy Grail, nothing will bind Saber anymore. She will be freed from going back to the point right before her death, and she will truly die. Why the sudden change of heart? You're not one to give warnings like that. Well, I'm just happy to see you supporting Saber. Think of it as a kindness. The moment Saber obtains the Holy Grail, she will disappear. My advice to you is, if you wish to be with her, you should give up the Holy Grail. That doesn't make sense. I can't keep Saber here without the Holy Grail. You do not need to rely on the Holy Grail. It is the same for that other servant we spoke of earlier. If you want Saber to stay here, then all you need to do is feed her souls. Am I wrong? Screw you, I won't allow that. I glare at the priest. I see. That's a shame. My glare has no effect on him. He just laughs with amusement. Then you'll just have to place your hopes on what is inside the Holy Grail. Even if your servant does not desire it, you just need to keep one command spell. That way your wish will be granted. He's saying, it doesn't matter if Saber doesn't want it. If I'm her master, I just need to force her to drink from the Holy Grail using the powers of the command spell. Oh, should I have not said that? Now, don't glare at me like that. I was only warning you. You are certainly free to respect Saber's wishes. It's her life. Neither you nor I have any right to interfere. I shall investigate that other servant you mentioned. I should have something by tomorrow. You're more than welcome to return here, should you wish. The church door closes. I glance up at the towering church before I turn to leave. And you get shanked from behind by a lancer because you walked this way alone. I cross the bridge at night. This is the path I once walked with Saber. I was just looking at the scenery, not thinking about anything at the time. She will die once she obtains the Holy Grail. Hope you understand what that means, Shiro Emiya. I know, I don't need him to tell me that. Why is everything so complicated? She shouldn't obtain the Holy Grail, but the only thing that can save her is the Holy Grail. My advice to you is this. If you wish to be with her, you should give up the Holy Grail. If you want Saber to stay, then all you need to do is feed her souls. I can't do that. Even if I asked her to do it, she would refuse. She would choose to disappear if that was the alternative. She will disappear, and then she'll have to do another Holy Grail war all over again. You just need to keep one command spell. That way your wish will be granted. Shut up. His words are poison. I can't get rid of them. In a rage, I smash my fist against a nearby rail, desperately hoping to clear my mind. I hear an echoing metallic clang. There's no other sound. Not so much as a car or another person passing by. Damn, why am I getting all worked up? I lean against the rail, grumbling to myself. I know I should just ignore Kotomine, but there's just some sort of power to his words. I can't ignore them. What do I want to do, and what am I fighting for? In the beginning, it was stopping the Holy Grail War. But when did that become secondary? Did it happen when I started to stubbornly fight on my own? Did it happen when I realized how helpless I am and started to cooperate with Saber? Or did it happen when I made a sword for her after our souls entwined that night in the ruins? Souls and bodies. No, that's not all. No, that's all nonsense. I don't need to think about it. Since the beginning, my mind's been made up since I met her in the shed. The sight of her illuminated in the moonlight. That would have been fine. Had I not shared that dream of her past and so not known any better, it would have been over without me even noticing. But I did find out. I knew I couldn't leave her alone, and I started to hope that I could somehow not lose her. I wish her to stay this way. I want to keep seeing her smile. Ow. The image of the girl watching the sunset alone on that hill, strewn with swords. My chest hurts whenever I think of that scene. She never took any time for herself. That always bothered me. Kiritsugu always said to not make a girl cry. I prefer her smiling face to her tears. That's why I was so angry that she never smiled. But then when I told her to smile, she always replied that she would rather see me smile. That's like looking at an unreachable star through a telescope. Damn. I look up at the night sky, stare up at the star I could never reach. A trickle. I don't know how it formed, but I feel a tear slide down my cheek. He admits it! I say it to nobody. As dense as I may be, I have at least to admit how I feel. I can't stop this feeling anymore. I realize I've fallen in love with her, so much so that thinking about her can bring me to tears. And this is when the Golden Archer comes up from nowhere and shanks you for loving what's his. We'll go home. You were out late. I hear Tosaka's voice as I arrive. She's standing at the entrance. Why are you? This is not the place to talk. You look exhausted. Come, follow me. She grabs my hand and without waiting for me, drags me down the hall. Saber's waiting as well, because you're not as subtle as you thought. And she brings me to her room. Here, tea. It must have been cold out there. She's awkward about it, but she's being considerate. Good gracious, how long is this all going to go on for? Yeah, thanks. Honestly, the hot tea is comforting. It took me a good hour to walk home from the neighboring town. I walked slowly, so I was cold to the bone. So you went to Kirei's place? As usual, she doesn't beat around the bush. I get it. She must have known what I was going to do from the very beginning. But she didn't stop me. She waited for me to come home, and now she's even made me tea. I feel like a new man now that my mind is made up, and I appreciate her thoughtfulness. Which is probably why I say, yeah, I went there. It was something I wanted to ask him about. I don't hide anything. I'm honest with her. I see. Then I won't ask for the details. You're okay with that, too, right? Yeah, it wasn't a fruitful conversation anyway. Just wanted to check with him about the current situation. I see. But I'm honestly surprised that Saber isn't a full servant. The strongest of all servants being the most incomplete is a bad joke. Yeah, and she doesn't have to end up as a counter guardian. She nods in agreement. This is funny. You and Archer might have gotten along under different circumstances. He said the same thing you did earlier. Archer? You mean your Archer? Yep. Archer once said that he regretted his own actions, so he didn't want Saber to make the same mistake. Why would he be worried about Saber? I thought he hated her. Yeah, but maybe he had some kind of connection with her. The first time he fought her, he was obviously going easy on her. I thought it was weird from the very beginning. Really? Saber said she didn't recognize him. Really? But she was a king, right? She might not have known every single citizen in her country. She could have forgotten about them too. You know, if you go to that route, the possibilities are endless. You can't remember someone's face, that's as good as you not knowing them. That's not necessarily true. According to legend, there were many knights that were unfortunately driven out of Camelot. He might have been one of them. If so, he might have been trying to hide his identity, not from me, but from Saber. She's unusually chatty tonight. It's probably her way of trying to be considerate. Maybe not particularly effective, but Tosaka is a good person. She's usually pretty relentless, but she still ends up lending a helping hand. She's got a kind of big sister thing going on. We drink tea for a few more minutes. She turns around and looks straight at me. Guess she's run out of patience. So what do you want to do, Shiro? I'm going to take her on a date tomorrow. I can't think of anything else. It's a spur-of-the-moment idea I came up with on my walk back home. But then, I don't know where the summer mood from earlier went, because she makes the most bizarre face. She bursts out into uncontrollable laughter. Hold on, wait. I wasn't ready to hear this. That's unbelievable. It's so selfish of you, Shiro. Damn, I'm so dumb. I should have seen this coming. Shut up. What's wrong with me being selfish? I know it's not the time for it, but I'm not going to let you get in our way. Oh, no, Shiro. It's just so funny. She slaps my back hard, holding her stomach with her other hand, laughing so hard she's nearly in tears. I think this is the worst she's ever treated me. I haven't laughed this hard in a long time. Well, I'm happy for you. Now that was funny to me. Well, good luck with your date. I'm rooting for you two. She says that kindly, doing a complete about-face from a second ago. Yeah, I'll try my best. Honestly, that came out of left field. When she says it like that, all I can do is nod. We gotta be getting close to the end of this day when I can finally end the stream. I go back to my room. Saber's still asleep and the house is peaceful as if there was nothing happening. It rained today, but what about tomorrow? I look up at the clouds slowly passing overhead. Unlike me as it is, I pray for a sunny day tomorrow. Okay. So at this save point, uncharacteristically, I'm going to save at the end of the day and call the stream here because my voice is just dying at this point. As we are moving into day 14, which is called Moonlight. We will be calling the stream of FSN Night Remaster here. Per the flowchart, who knows how much is left? I certainly have no idea. We've got to be getting close to the end. There's only Lancer and the Golden Archer remaining. But we've got to be getting close to the end here, so yeah. So I've been SoulRackDragon. I hope you've all enjoyed today's stream. If you have, leave me some feedback in whichever way you so see fit. Viper, you came in just as I'm signing off. Oh no! How you doing, Viper? Hope you have a fantastic day and have had one. But, yeah, thank you all so much for coming out. Hope you enjoyed. If you have, leave me some feedback in whichever way you so see fit. If you want to check out more by me, be sure to check out my channel here on Twitch or YouTube. Same name, same games. There's plenty of content for all to enjoy. I am probably going to start putting out the FSN Night Remaster on the YouTube channel here because it's long. I think I've got over 30 hours in it now, so it's a lot to digest. But that's for the future. For now, once again, hope you all enjoyed. Have a fantastic evening, everybody. And sorry for literally signing off as you just showed up, Viper. Sorry.